Welcome, Aqua. But first and foremost, welcome everyone to the Daicon podcast for June 11th. I'm your host, the Geeky Panda, here with my co-host, Time Enforcer Anubis. What's
Yes,
up?
sir.
Now,
Gentlemen.
I love how you did like the emote within the. You know, we're gonna keep on going here. So, for those who don't know, the Daicon podcast is a podcast dedicated for all things anime and video game content, including both industry and fandom. We can talk about things like the video game releases, to conventions, to games itself, to certain topics. We even have including something called the Anime Rating Board, where we give our best recommendations with a anime style like tier system. As such, this is also an 18 plus podcast, so we can curse and take topics like hentai.
Yes.
Yeah, the co-host that used to host his own
It's the best kind of
podcast. I
co-host. It's
know
the
it's
best
like the best.
co-host you can have.
Yeah, I know. Basically, like I'm not going into Salon. I could just use time for it. He was like, "What do I do?" I do is consult the books.
Consult the scrolls, the archives.
Exactly. What is this arcane technology are we dealing with here? Okay. As such, Anubis, how you been, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah.
Been chilling. Been I'm finally trying to beat Half-Life. Though not like vanilla Half-Life. I'm playing Black Mesa, but I'm actually I've never beaten Half-Life.
Okay. Okay. Wait till you get to the end game part, and then it gets crazy.
I just earlier today reached Zen.
Oh yeah, okay. So things are just gonna get crazy for you regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Black Mesa. I still need to beat it. Itself in particular for my YouTube. It is one of the most faithful recreations. And it's a fan recreation. It's like Valve have nothing
Yeah.
to do with this. This is a fan recreation of a classic title that was released back in, I believe, in 1998, and it had everything down to like minute detail, and then they just made it like 10 times better, basically, but still
Hmm.
keeping to its core. Like, this is how remakes should be. Like, keep it
Yeah.
to its core, keep everything how it's supposed to be, but make it look beautiful and make it
Yes.
feel better. But so you're finally okay. So you're finally beating Black Mesa and stuff like that. Anything else? Any anime
Yeah.
you've been watching? Okay, I want to hear this.
Dude, I've been watching Akiba Maid War.
Again? Wait.
No, I watched the first episode back when it came out and never
Oh
really
yeah, you
continued
never.
it. But
Oh, I was telling you to
I've
keep watching. Yeah,
dude, dude,
it goes.
that show is not like it. It's playing around, but it's not playing around.
Yeah, it's like fuck around. It's like we're having fun, but fuck around and find out.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you think you don't normally think, oh, maid cafes and guns would work, but it surprisingly does in a
Well,
very
I think maid cafes and guns work because
okay.
that's just me.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's not just maid cafes and guns. It's like it's a maid cafe Yakuza movie anime.
Yeah, no,
Like it's a Yakuza movie in anime,
with
except all the Yakuza are anime maids in Akiba.
yeah.
Like it's the exact same thing. It's like gang turf warfare and like dirty dealing and fucking gambling and underground like fight clubs and shit. But it's all just maids. It's all within like the Akiba otaku maid culture, and it works. It really works. And what's surprising to me about it is like it's an original work. It's not based off of anything.
Yeah, it's not based off a manga, right? It's
Yeah,
literally
it's
on
not
its own
based off a
thing.
manga or a light novel. It's literally just its own thing. So someone sitting at PA Works was like, I I really like maids and I really like Yakuza movies, but I can only make one anime. What do I do? And then that's what they came up with.
So it's basically the same thing with like someone's like, I really like Yakuza movies, but I also really like comic relief and anime.
Yeah.
Hmm. The Yakuza video game
Yeah,
series.
exactly.
Yeah. It's like about it's a video game series about serious crime, which no doubt it does have it, but there's a lot of really wacky moments in that which I fucking love.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Akiba Maid War is.
Yep.
It's like, okay, it's maid like silly like Akiba maid culture, but then the maids are also shooting people. For real.
It's like we've had enough of your
Like
shit.
it's like, okay, yeah, dude, all right, yeah, oh, it's the maids. Oh, they're having their little turf war, and when then one of them pulls out a gun, and it's like, oh, okay, oh, this is what we're doing now.
Also, this is a very rare moment because you're on the webcam finally.
Yeah,
You wait, were you on webcam during your actual podcast or no?
yeah, for quite a bit of it,
Because I'm
for quite a bit of it, and then we stopped doing it at a certain point because we used to use a Google Hangout, and then we stopped doing that and just reverted over to using OBS. And then at that point, I just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm not. A. I'm not gonna go through all the shit to like set up for multiple webcams and having all those on the screen. And then B, I'm not just gonna be the only dude on this podcast of three people with a webcam.
yeah,
So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just have the logo with the little recording sign up in the upper right and be done with it.
yeah. Aqua says I was thinking the same thing. It is rare indeed to see Anubis's face.
Yeah, it used to
Yeah,
not be rare, but now it is.
yeah. It's a rare like the stars have to align to get you out and about and all this stuff. I'm like looking through your room. I'm seeing a lot of fucking figures everywhere. I'm seeing some cells, and is that? Oh, that fucking iconic costume. Lelouch, the Lelouch helmet.
Oh yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
No,
I see it right
yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah. I forgot I moved the camera over, so now you can see it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you're like, it's, I asked you, like, can you just move it to the right a bit? Keep going. No, 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 no. I mean, your
Yeah,
left. Keep
yeah.
going. Keep going. But no, for me, I've been, God, dude, the video game releases is gonna be crazy. Again, I've been playing a little bit of Street Fighter 6. Been having a lot of fun with that. I still have yet to start Resident Evil 4.
Hmm.
And I know people are like, play it, man, it's really good. And I'm like, oh, I got, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom to be. I started God of War Ragnarok. I not making content. I just want to play it just to enjoy it myself because you know how as a content creator, you play games to make content out of it, but then at the same time, I just want to play a fucking game and just enjoy myself. I don't want
Right.
anyone else to like see what's going on, my reactions. I just legitimately want to turn off everything and just play the game and just enjoy myself. Like I
I mean,
know
that's why I stopped doing anime reviews at a certain because it's like I want to just I want to just watch a show and not be in that mindset of having to analyze it and see what's good and bad about it. I just want to sit down and watch an anime.
to only do the board section of our podcast, and now you have to turn on that brain again.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not like I completely stopped doing that. And
Gotcha.
also it's like that's always like stuff that I've seen before. Like I'm not gonna and you know this. I'm not gonna speak to something that I haven't really seen. I'm not gonna have like highly outspoken opinions on an anime I've seen like an episode of.
Gotcha, yeah. I've also been again watching some of the current season of anime out there. I'm not gonna try to watch One Piece to catch up on it because that's gonna take too fucking
They
long.
yeah, that there's no circumstance in which I'm doing that.
I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. I've been actually enjoying that. The first
Mm,
episode or two was a little weird, but it slowly start. It's like one of those things that's growing on me. Like this is why I like the 3 episode approach. Watch 3 episodes, see if you like it.
right.
You can't just base everything on just the one episode. Uh,
I base everything off of the one episode.
Martial Might and Magic and Muscles. I'm fucking loving it because it's just again a unique concept of in a world of magic. You got one user who doesn't have magic, but this dude has his muscles and his abilities that just rivals them, and it's fucking
Right.
hilarious because all he cares about is like his family and cream puffs. Dude is hungry for snacks, and I gotta respect that. But I've been trying to watch some other stuff into like I tried Kamikatsu working for God in a Godless World. First episode was a little weird with the exception of some guy getting jerked off.
Sometimes you gotta get jerked off. I don't know what to tell
Well,
you.
it was kind of like one of those things like he gets transported and the first thing our protagonist encounters is him getting jerked off.
It's a, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm like, is this fucking entire? Typically one that can base their impressions on the first episode exactly. But you also need like another episode or two to kind of get the see how it goes type thing. It's like one of those things. If it's a CV, if it's like a TV show or series, you need You can't base it all on the one thing, like a movie. You have to watch a few episodes to see if you're gonna like this in the long run. Other anime out there that I've been okay, so I finally finished up Mercury, the Gundam, Mercury Witch. What is it called again?
Which of Mercury?
Yeah, again, last episode, holy fuck balls. I haven't started watching the second season yet. I'm giving it a little time to cook so I can start watching it because I'm probably gonna binge watch it all in one fell swoop. I've been wanting to watch my One Hits Kill Sister,
Hmm.
and of course the Near Automata anime, which actually got postponed indefinitely because of some of the staff got sick with COVID, I think.
Yes. So I think that's to my knowledge, that's an issue that has to do with the subcontractors because
Oh,
there were quite a few anime that that happened for, and kind of the common thread there is that they're all subcontracting to studios in China,
oh, okay, gotcha.
and so that when they have their whole thing where they have to deal with COVID and their restrictions and whatnot, that ends up affecting the anime industry.
Gotcha.
It's one of the eh, it's one of the things I talk about as the is like one of the least talked about issues within the anime industry is the reliance on overseas labor and the overseas market
Hmm.
in order to sustain the industry.
Yep. And welcome, Nuggets Gaming, to the podcast. For those who don't know, again, I am the Geeky Panda, your tactical degenerate weeb, joined by my co-host Time Forcer Anubis here,
Hello.
the musician, the badass motherfucker himself, him. Dude, if you need a hype
Yeah.
man, you
So
just get
well
me.
so have you watched any of the Oshinoko anime?
No.
Because I I'm probably gonna pick it up sometime soon, maybe after this season ends, but I am reading the first volume of the manga,
Hmm.
and it's pretty good so far.
Nice. I need to actually. You just reminded me the Goblin Slayer creator. He's making a new manga out there. What's it
Ooh,
called? La 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 la. It's supposed to be like a more like guns tactical and all that type of shenanigans and stuff like that.
okay, I'm on board.
Here we go. This is the guy's name. What's of course the first thing is Goblin Slayer. I'm like,
Of course.
he's done more than that. I want his latest works, please. Oh no, it's just a whole lot of Goblin Slayer. Fuck me. No, there was something out there. Maybe it's something else, but I know there was something else out there that was working, that was cooking. Aqua said,
Moscow 2160.
"Yes, that's it. I want to look in on that." Aqua says, "I was told I was recorded for me to wait until SG The Witch of Mercury ends since the anime has been delayed a lot. Therefore, I decided to wait until it's finished. One that is done, I will watch it and hopefully enjoy." Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. Like again, I like to give anime like if it's if I really like it, I'd be like, okay, just hold off because I'm gonna because when a new episode comes out, you're like you eat it up like it was like no fucking tomorrow, and then you're like I have nothing.
That
I,
that's it, well, it's like yeah, it's like every if you're watching week to week, it's like you the day the episode comes out and you scramble to get to it, and
yeah,
then you finish it, and then you're pissed for a week.
yeah, exactly. It's like fucking like Adult Swim watching new episodes of anime on there. You're like fuck. You're like, you're like now I have to wait a week to see what happens next. And god damn it. But I think now we can get on with the news portion. Now, a lot of news has been happening within the video game industry. Not so much the anime one. We're having kind of a hard time. It's just a lot of little stuff here. But for those who don't know, Twitch has. I know a lot of topics have been talked about this and stuff like that, but Twitch try, tried a new, you know, some new policies and updating their policies, including, branding policies and stuff like that. Tried controlling the ad space, and it didn't quite work out. and now people are really pissed, and now Twitch has pulled back some of its policy making decisions, and I have a headache.
Y- Yeah,
Anyone who
well,
streams on Twitch, I'm like, I have a fucking headache.
so and correct me if I'm wrong because I've been like adjacent to this issue, but I don't I think I understand it, but I don't know that I fully understand it. I haven't gone way in depth with it.
Okay.
But they're trying to limit basically the amount that that streamers on their platform can advertise brands that they have a relationship with
Yeah.
outside of Twitch's
Yeah.
own advertising infrastructure.
Yeah. Essentially, Twitch just hates it. Just um, Twitch just hate streamers. Like, oh wait, why are you going to them? We're here. I'm like, no. Like they
Well,
just they want to control the ad space essentially, and
yeah, well,
it
so
kind of
here's
screws over a lot of things with that, and they had to double
exactly.
back on it because if you think about it, sponsorships. Look at the esports tournaments. A
Yeah,
lot of them have sponsors. Why? Because
yeah.
they are heavily reliant on sponsors to run one of those organizations. Because running it,
That's how they get paid.
yeah,
Twitch isn't gonna bankroll the entire esports org in their with their Twitch channel.
Amazon
Like
might.
that's
Like,
ludicrous.
yeah, like
They
Amazon's got that
either they
money,
would
but
have
yeah,
to make either they would have to make an exception
but the,
for
but they won't.
esports orgs, or I could see them doing that if they really wanted to keep this dumbass policy. I could see them doing that, but it that doesn't change the fact that it's a stupid ass policy. Here's the issue: if you're here's basically what Twitch is saying, that if you're a small scale streamer, that you don't have that sort of actual scale that it would take, you don't have that like top 0.1% of Twitch scale that it would take to make serious money off of purely just Twitch ads, just purely running off of Twitch's ad service, which is subpar
Hmm.
by itself. If you're a small scale streamer, that you don't have that sort of audience backing behind you, you basically you're shit out of luck.
Yeah,
You have no recourse. You have no way to actually get paid outside of whatever small amount Twitch is giving you. Whereas w- minus this dumb policy, you could on your own approach brands, say, "Hey, I'm a broadcaster on Twitch. Here's what I do. Here's the kind of audience that I appeal to. I attract XYZ many concurrent viewers. I have this many followers. I do such and such. Would you like to partner with me to for me to promote your brand? I'll have a banner for your brand up on my stream at all times. I'll shout that kind of stuff.
yeah.
You could do that on any platform other than Twitch. Twitch is the only one that's gonna try and
Yeah, like
limit how you can interact with brands on your own. That's the thing. That's the and that this is a recurring problem with Twitch is gonna try to limit base if if you're gonna if you're gonna involve yourself in Twitch's system to where you're now getting paid off of the ads Twitch is running on your stream. Now now you're really in the system.
yeah,
Now you can't simulcast to any other platform, like any other serious platform. You can simulcast maybe to like
TikTok.
TikTok, but even that is a relatively recent change in the policy.
Yeah, like
So
they
you can't simulcast, you can't seek brand deals on your own and then put that into your content as it under whatever agreement you have with the brand. Can't do that. What's going to be next? That Twitch is going to try and exert control over your content without really paying you consummate to the control you're exerting over they're exerting over your top over your content. Like understand that there are circumstances where it's appropriate for a service to say, okay, we're gonna pay you, but you can't simulcast. You have to be exclusive to our platform. Those circumstances are when you're getting paid a substantial amount from that from that service. Like, let me tell you what the circumstance is. That circumstance is when Ninja took the Mixer agreement.
Rip to
Like, that's
Mixer.
the
Yeah.
circumstance where it's appropriate to say, all right, we're going to give you however many $1 million. You can't stream anywhere else. But but that's Twitch's affiliate agreement, not their partner agreement, not their we're going to pay you to stay on our platform agreement. That's their, like, lowest level. We're going to give you some money from the ads we're already running on your stream agreement.
Yeah, it's often crazy. Aqua says I thought about streaming on Twitch, but I never wanted to run ads on Twitch, given how intrusive and disruptive they could be. If I wanted financial compensation, I'd much rather whether to use another means than put viewers through ads, especially when those ads don't represent what I focus on.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
There's no reason to depending on how big you expect your audience to be, you really honestly could be better served renting a virtual private server and running an own cast instance, because at least then you control all of your content and you can do whatever you want on there.
with
And you don't have a an entity over you that's not paying you but is trying to exert control over the nature of your content.
so there are so they updated it, so they were trying to update it and then they had to throw it out due to a lot of people, including streamers, organizations, and group threatening Twitch, like, hey, we're gonna leave if this stays in effect. Like, even Mr. Beast is like, I haven't streamed on here and this is stupid. And I'm like, God damn. So Twitch did release out a prohibited brand content categories, which, some products and services aren't suitable for promotion on Twitch because they pose a risk to members in our community. Okay, we don't allow these promotions, products, and services to our community guidelines. And first and foremost, hateful products or services. Self said.
Certainly.
Illegal products and services.
Certainly.
Certainly. Risky gambling products, such as promoting online slots or roulette websites. Okay. Sharing
Certainly, on
unauth-
some level.
unauthorized sharing of private information. Okay.
Obviously.
Spam, scams, and other malicious conduct. Okay, okay, yeah.
Obviously.
And then they additionally had the do not allow thing weapons, such as firearms, explosives, and related products.
Yep.
Adult-oriented products or services, such as pornography, sexual content, male enhancement products, and reproductive health services allowed. This is where it gets a little weird. Okay, so tobacco and tobacco-related products, such as cigarettes, e-cigarettes, including vape pens and chewing tobacco. I'm like, okay. Put a
All
put
right.
put a pin
I
on
can
that.
I can understand that.
Put a pin on that. Certain
Yep.
financial products or services, medical facilities and
I can
products,
understand that.
po-
I can understand that.
political content.
I can
Uh,
understand that.
um, oh, I'm sorry, not the tobacco part, but this part right here. Cannabis-related products, including vaping and delivery. Now, we finally allow branded content for certain products and services, but with some restrictions, including alcohol, must be marked as mature. So you allow alcohol, with the only thing it has to be mature. But um,
So
you got
I
you got
can I
cannabis.
so here so I can understand cannabis because that's a federal,
Yeah,
it's still federally illegal. What I can't understand, if they're going to allow alcohol, is why not allow tobacco?
it's like you allow alcohol's cool, but smoking, that's where we can draw the line. It's stupid, to me. It's absolute, like, for me personally. Because I market myself as an 18 plus content creator, I would love to get potentially sponsored by a distillery or something like that. But at the same time, I'm looking at this. I'm like, this doesn't make fucking sense. This is cognitive. What's that word? Dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cognitive dissonance. I think it's more so
You allow
it,
this, but you don't
m-
allow that. So that's kind of
it, it
confusing.
it's motivated reasoning. They
Yeah.
can find a reason to they can find a reason why tobacco isn't allowed, but you you could very easily find a reason why both tobacco and alcohol should be allowed or shouldn't be allowed. But what it comes down to is they're okay with alcohol as long as it's
Mature,
marked as mature
mature,
content.
yeah.
But they don't they have a particular dislike for tobacco and tobacco related products. You could those could very easily be marked as mature content.
Yeah.
It, it's legal to sell, it's legal to buy as long as you're above a certain age. The same thing with alcohol.
Yep.
I can understand cannabis related products. I can understand political content. I can understand prescription drugs and pharmacies and all that. I can understand financial services and cryptocurrencies and all that. I can understand adult services. I can understand firearms. But, well,
Yeah. What also?
firearms might be a gray area.
Yeah.
But again, what it comes down to is if there really is no concrete reason that I'm seeing why alcohol should be allowed, but tobacco at a minimum shouldn't also be allowed.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to for me is that they they're they're being selective in their policy, and what it really comes down to for me is they're gonna try and control your content regardless of whether or not they're paying you to be able to do that.
And you want to know who's winning right now? Every other fucking platform. Because every time Twitch screws up, every other platform, it's like, this is free fucking marketing.
Yeah,
Like Kick, um, Ninja actually just recently streamed on Kick for the first time because he is a multicast streamer. He streams on everything, and
yep.
he, like, granted, I might not, it's like I might not enjoy Ninja's content personally, but I can understand. But his region and logic is on fucking point. Why would I stream on just one platform that wants to control everything?
There's no reason. There
Versus
literally is no,
versus I can stream on everywhere else and make money.
can anyone explain to me why it's reasonable for Twitch to have that exclusivity?
Yeah,
They're
and
not paying for it. They're not like every other platform. Every other platform gives gives a higher percentage to the content creator. Even even in the instance of, oh yeah, we're gonna pay you for the ads we're already running on your content. Even at that point, every other platform gives a higher percentage to the content creator. Why does Twitch think they're special in terms of, oh, if if you're in with us, you can't stream anywhere. You can't stream the same content anywhere else. You can't multi-stream anywhere else. You can't get that bigger audience to grow your brand faster if you're gonna sign up with Twitch. I don't know why anyone would ever sign a Twitch affiliate deal at this point.
Burner says, "Yo, Panda, a little burned on the face there, my guy. I know. I need to get some better facial creams and stuff like that. I just switched over from to Kick myself, actually. Nice." Aqua says, "In fact, what I learned from a certain person I follow, aiming to create content, they uh, should rely on the platform. They should have upending. They should be having backup platforms just in case something happens. Exactly.
I don't I
Don't
I
well,
don't I
don't
don't
well,
know
don't
don't rely on one
yeah,
platform.
don't put
You're
all your eggs in one basket. Do not put all
the
your eggs in one basket. Is a very
Yeah,
simple saying.
relying on one platform is how, like, at that point, depending it really depending on the platform, it's like make one mistake and your entire content dynasty is gone.
Yeah, like for
And
me,
you're starting back from square one. Really, what really and this is just me and my personal preference and what I like to do. Really, I like to own wherever my content really lives. And that goes down to streaming, at least for me. I'm not expecting to be big man on Twitch and whatnot, getting like 5,000 viewers or whatever I can expect to be a high level on Twitch. I got virtual server. It's running an own cast instance, and that's where I stream when I do my music production streams, which is rarely. And I get a couple people watching usually.
Uh, uh,
But that's also like I just started that.
yeah, Aqua said, I mean, the type should not rely on one platform. Got you.
Yeah,
Burner
yeah.
also
You
said,
don't want to rely on one platform.
I noticed when I streamed today that I had significantly larger amount of viewers on Kick rather than Twitch. Honestly, again, Kick is just loving this free fucking marketing right now because every time Twitch screws up, Kick, like, all Kick needs to do is just make a few tweets, like, done.
Well,
and
so
we got a lot of
here's the real
yeah.
is who really wins is Amazon because Twitch is owned by Amazon. People are still streaming on Twitch. Kick runs on Amazon servers using Amazon's service, which is basically just the back end. So who really wins here is Amazon, regardless of what dumbass decision Twitch makes. If people migrate to Kick, Amazon's still getting paid off of it.
Oh yeah, but like the one thing I noticed is YouTube Gaming is not doing much right now to capitalize on this. I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
They would have to make significant like upgrades to
oh yeah, like
the entire infrastructure and backend to that, and I'm not sure if they're positioned to do that right now.
but yeah, but with that though, that took a lot. That was a huge segment already. I will say though, for other part of the again, I'm starting to get myself into like I just don't want to be locked into one platform when I stream, and now I'm trying to start spreading my wings and doing simulcasting stuff. But moving on, we got some huge announcements in the Xbox side of things. I slept through it like a fucking baby because I was fucking tired. But we got some new stuff, including dates and announcements like Payday 3. Can't fucking wait. We got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I can't fucking wait.
This is gonna be great. I didn't know I needed all these features they're including it.
Starfield coming in September, finally. Which, let's be honest. Let's get it on PC because you know why? All the mods and shit is gonna happen.
Of
But
course, get it on PC. Why
yeah,
would you get it anywhere else?
well, maybe they don't have a PC.
Well, uh,
Yeah,
but if you have a PC, why would you get it on
If
everywhere else?
you have a PC, guys. But huge announcements that they made include dates. Like honestly, the fall of 2023, it's gonna be pretty busy. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, hey, let's and then we got the Capcom show coming. It's not even done. Like, this is what happens when E3 you really kind of screwed up and everyone just does their own thing now. Because we got all these multiple shows going on, Capcom's coming up, PlayStation already did theirs, Xbox just did theirs. Nintendo, did they do theirs yet? I don't think
Don't know.
I don't think Nintendo did off the top of my head. But yeah. So I figure now would be a good time to talk about the main topic for today's podcast. Which the main topic is basically the question that we will ask is we'll talk the importance of backwards compatibility, specifically in the video game world here. Now, what we mean by backwards compatibility is we mean that okay, I played games on the Xbox One. Can I still play these games on the Xbox Series X? Yeah, you can. Go for it. Now, now throughout the years, it's like in the beginning, especially, like hey, the PS2 era was fully backwards compatible with PlayStation 1 games.
Yep.
And then when the PS3 era started, the initial launch consoles had PS2 hardware in it, so you could literally put any PS2 game there in you want, and it would run beautifully.
Right.
Nowadays, when it comes to backwards compatibility, PlayStation's answer is literally just streaming it.
Yeah.
Xbox's answer is they're at least salvaging it to the point where you could. I saw this picture too where um, they had the Crimson Sky. Was it Crimson Skies? On,
Crimson
on
Skies.
the
High
original
Road to Revenge.
on the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, and the Xbox Series S or the X, and they can all see each other. They can
All system linked together
yeah,
in the same game.
and I find that absolutely nuts. And you just forget like backwards compatibility is because it's like we want to keep playing these games that we love. Now you want to know who's the worst at it?
Who?
Nintendo. Sorry, yeah, Nintendo. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Well, so like
Like,
so here's the issue.
yeah,
Like with Sony and with Nintendo, they have a motivated reason for not doing what Microsoft is doing. And you can make an argument that Microsoft has that reason too, but just doesn't care about it as much as Sony and Nintendo. Because Nintendo, yeah, you can play your older N64 games and your NES and your SNES and your GameCube games on your modern console, but you have to buy them again first.
yeah. It's not
You have to
like
buy them again first through our service that we can shut off
exactly like
and the same thing with Sony. You can play your PS1, your PS2, and whatnot games, but you have to buy them again through our service, and we can shut that off at any time.
yeah, it's crazy for me. Like that's why I've been holding on to my PS3 because it is an original fat backwards compatible model. I'm going to buy another one just to be on the safe side because I have a sizable PS2 game collection that I want to keep building, and I know that I can't put these games in a PS4. Well, I don't have a PS4 now, or my PS5 because it'll be like, oh, Sony will be like, oh, you could stream it on our service that you have to pay a little bit more. I'm like, why do I have to play a little bit more? I got the game right here in my fucking hand.
I mean, this is the reason I'm on my fourth PS2.
Damn. Fourth.
Because hey, there's a lot of games that I like playing on the PS2. If you want to get me to keep rebuying that console, it has good games on it, and I can't play them on any other console.
Aqua pointed out, and to add this, likely why Nintendo does not like the idea of emulation. No, they hate it.
Yeah, yeah. Nintendo is probably the worst in this respect for, and that's part of it. It's because they know that people will buy these games if they're re-released digitally,
And even then, they
which
don't.
doesn't mean they're gonna re-release them digitally, but they are gonna come down on emulation every single time.
Now, granted, some of the facts they can't do it because of licensing agreements. Some of these games had licenses that didn't need to be renewed again. For
Right.
instance, Metal Gear Solid 3 HD edition for the Xbox. You were able to buy it, the HD collection, on the Xbox consoles, on Xbox the servers, but because of a licensed agreement Konami had with some of the historical footage, they had to take it down because it expired. They need to renew it, and now, well, apparently they renewed it, but they're doing a re-release of the games on the newer systems, which I'm like, oh hey, cool. But it's license agreements is a bitch, which probably one of the reasons why we might not see another Marvel vs. Capcom 2 re-release ever again, because
Right.
again, Marvel characters, all that, Capcom has to pay all that. But it's
And so to anchor that point, now if you own a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you need to hang on to that console.
I yeah, no, seriously, I paid almost $200 for mine, and it is getting
Yep.
more and more. No, we saw the
I mean,
game.
hey, I and this and well to really to really hammer the point home about Microsoft, I might be okay because my copy is the Xbox Live Arcade version. So there's a chance if Microsoft is gracious, if
Yeah,
I beseech the gods of Microsoft, that if I get a newer Xbox, I'll be able to download that game because I ostensibly own it through their service.
yeah, like for me, they did like these backwards compatibility updates, introducing more and more games. Which again, they were like, hey, if you own the disc or you bought it digitally,
Yep.
you're good. That's why
They
compared to the big three, Microsoft is generally the better one out of all of them because at least they gave you a chance.
I say a lot about Microsoft being basically the modern equivalent to Sega, how
Mhm.
Sega was back in the day,
Yeah.
with how Sega was kind of pushing the industry forward. In this respect, they're even better than Sega
Oh yeah.
because Sega didn't do backwards compatibility. You couldn't play Saturn games on a Dreamcast. You definitely couldn't play Genesis or 32X or CD games on a Saturn. Microsoft, they're backwards compatible all the way through. If something was backwards, correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the games that were backwards compatible from original Xbox to 360. You can play those games all the way up to whatever the newest Xbox is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you don't even like sometimes they might not be available to download on the server, but if you already bought it, or if you have the disc, you could just play it
Yes.
regardless. Like
If you have the disc.
for instance, Ace Combat 6, Fires of Liberation.
Yep.
It was the first Ace Combat game to come on the Microsoft Xbox system.
Yep.
You cannot buy it digitally anymore because license.
Yep.
But if you bought it already beforehand, or if you have the disc, you're good to go. I could put my copy of Ace Combat 6 in my Xbox Series X, and I could go off to the races.
Yeah. I I would say, I remember it was it's a it, what they're doing because they don't have to do it. And this is keep in mind, this is the company everyone was clowning on at that one E3 show where they announced, well, was it the Xbox One that they announced where they were talking about,
TV.
well, no, well, it was the one where they were talking about how you're you're gonna have to like
The
it was the one with where Sony smartasses that they are rebutted and said, well, here's how you let
yeah,
people borrow games from the
they
Sony
seriously
console, and
made
they
a
handed and
commercial.
they
Yeah,
handed
they specifically made a video like a
yeah
30-second video. I just here you go. That's it.
yeah, which is no surprise because that's what Sony does because they
Yeah.
don't because they can't market their own stuff on their merits, so they have to market it based on the shortcomings of their competitors, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, this is the same company that people were clowning on about that, and they're still to this day working on getting games backwards compatible from their very first system to their latest system,
Yeah,
which is a span of like 2 decades,
pretty
close
much.
to 2 decades.
We're heading 3 for some now. Some.
So this is my point with Microsoft. Clown on them all you want. They're they're literally do we back in the 90s it was Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Now it's Microsoft does what Nintendo. And not Microsoft does what Sony don't.
Yeah.
Which is to say, they let you play your old games again on your modern console, and it's not a problem. It's not a big deal.
Aqua said that this is also why I need to get all the DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at some point. Exactly,
Yeah.
because and what's crazy is too that you know backwards compatibility is nice because like one day like we saw Nintendo shutting down the servers for the Wii, the Wii U, 3DS. They just okay done. Any way we could play these games on the Switch? No,
Yeah. Exactly.
it's literally any games that were exclusive to that system that you bought digitally on their storefront. If you had it downloaded, like if you downloaded it, save that system
It,
because that's the only thing
and
left.
these are not games that are 20 years old.
No, these are more like that's like only a decade. Like
These are like 10, 10, 12, 13 years old games.
and and
Here's something I just realized. I literally just thought of this right now.
what?
Microsoft's entire backwards compatibility library, that's more backwards compatible than a lot of PC games. Think about it. How many PC games from like 2001 could you put in a modern system? A modern like a modern era
Yeah,
PC
you're right. Some of the old
and
games don't like to jive.
would actually like work properly in a way where you could in a way where you could like 90% play them like a lot of the Xbox backwards compatibility. So I
Yeah,
think about
you're right.
that
Yeah, because
and 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 then think about what Microsoft is doing where they're taking games from that era and they're making them playable on their modern console. And to some extent, the newer Xboxes are probably built with that in mind. The Xbox 360 and the Xbox One and the Xbox One X and S and the Xbox Series, they're probably all built with that in mind where we need to be able to reach back 20 years and still play some of those games.
It's
But that just speaks to their philosophy, which in contrast to Nintendo and in contrast to Sega, is Nintendo and Sega are like, okay, we're moving on to a new console generation. We're we're gonna throw out everything from previous console generations and then bring it back piecemeal in a way where our customers have to pay for it again.
yeah, pretty much. Like for Xbox here, most of all their games in the Xbox One works in the Xbox Series, no problem.
Yeah.
The Xbox backwards compatibility list that started on the 360, yeah, you could play it on your system, no problem.
Yep. Yep.
PlayStation, not all games work on the system, and even some of it pointed out that some games may be a little finicky because of the how their backwards compatibility is.
Right.
Which it's like one of those things, it's like I think it's going to become a selling point, at this point. Bertner says, I'm not going to lie. Once you started on this topic, I went into the attic and looked for my Black Ops. Wait, no. Was it Black Ops 2 PS2 disc? And I got upset that I couldn't pop it in my PS4. Yeah.
Gotta keep your PlayStation 2
Like,
at this point. It's
yeah.
what you have to do. You
It's.
shouldn't have to do it,
You shouldn't have
but
to
it's
do
what you
it.
have to do.
And I think it's going to be becoming a selling point when, hear me out, Xbox releases the newest video game system of the next Xbox family, the next generation. One thing they'll ask, you want to play all your past games? Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Like it's and I swear to God, if PlayStation doesn't, if their next console like the PS6 doesn't come out of the gate saying, yeah, there are going to be some complicated. Again, they're relying on a streaming service to play your games. I went on my PS5 and I got I was like going through my games list and I'm seeing games like, oh, you can play this, but it has to be streamed.
Right.
And I'm like, no. Like I don't like streaming because again, if what happens if the internet goes out? We have power, but the
Well,
internet
yeah,
goes out. You're fucked.
exactly.
I want something downloaded on my system, ready to fucking go at least. But no, Sony's answer is basically, oh, we could just stream it. Even though what's funny enough, with the emulation on PC for PlayStation 3 games has come a long fucking way.
Yep.
And now it's fucking insane. And there are some games out there's some games out there I would love to, to keep on going and stuff like that. Like I still got my copies of Fatal Frame 2 and 3 complete in box. I got my Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I can't play it on the PS fucking 4 or 5. I can't do that. You know, I'm. It would be hilarious if it.
That's the problem is that the they scrap the entire library of previous generations and then bring it back piece by piece. Like they pick and choose things to bring back. There's n- I I own a lot of like relatively obscure PS2 games. It's not like stuff everybody played for PS2, but it it's a lot of it's really good stuff. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna be able to play that on a modern console. The only guarantee I have is if the console is able to read the disc and play it.
Yeah. And that,
And if they're bringing stuff back piecemeal, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to do that.
yeah. Now, granted, there will be some exceptions, of course. Like again, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has not been on backwards compatibility for Xbox One, and which in turn not for Xbox Series X because again, license issues and all that dandy stuff.
Right.
Aqua, it would seem Microsoft is doing well at the moment. It's a shame. I do not care much for their library. Another thing I noticed is this flips. Before Sony was doing well, while Microsoft was not, and it's not the other way around. It flipped back and forth to one company getting the hubris at one point of failing, while the other overcomes the competition. Yet, usually, it's it's usually how it is in the gaming world. Like if someone fucks up, the other one
Sony
is
Sony has spent the better part of 2 decades riding off of the success of the original PlayStation, and in the last 10 or so years, it started to actually come back to bite them.
you want to know what's crazy is that
There's
people
not they've done basically not much of anything to earn to earn people's goodwill throughout throughout the latter half of the PlayStation 2 into the PlayStation 3 era, and it basically tumbled down the hill from since then, but they were never really all that good, in my opinion.
You know what's interesting too is like speaking of which, you have your backward we're talking about the consoles, but what about the older stuff? NES, SNES, all that stuff. It's on the PC front, emulators and people trying to make all these devices
Yep.
that are literally keeping it alive that Nintendo is doing again. Didn't one guy it's interesting. I think one guy on his YouTube channel, all he had was just songs of these games. Just the songs. And Nintendo's like, no.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think Sega used to be bad about that in the past, but I don't think they are still. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, Nintendo will go after people. Nintendo is
Dolphin.
the company who will go after people. They went after Steam
Yeah.
for putting the Dolphin emulator on Steam,
Yeah.
and now Steam doesn't have the Dolphin emulator on it anymore.
No, it's all gonna be, anywhere. But again, it's kind of crazy how it's like the games that we grew up with, the games that we love to have so much fun, is now your only thing, with some exceptions to the rules, of course. Sometimes you have to have these systems still. Like, hey, I got a PS3. Let me upgrade to the PS4. Wait, I can't play my PS3 games on the PS4. I have to have it. PS5 comes
Yep.
out. Hey, maybe I can play my PS3 games on the PS5. Nope, I have to keep
Nope.
no the streaming service only. Or I could just play on my PS3. And it's kind of crazy because we went to the retro game store and I was trying to look for a PS3 controller to buy, a official used one, because there's what new ones are gonna be out there. The market got completely flooded with cheap copycat knockoff controllers that try to emulate the official looks and stuff like that, but you can usually
Yep.
tell. And luckily, the store had a legit one, so I bought it. And because again, I want to keep playing these fucking games on my PS3. I got games like let me go down. Let me play SOCOM 2. Let me play Black. Fucking if they were to remake Black, EA, please, on the modern systems, holy fuckballs, that'll be a field day. That'd be the perfect game for the Frostbite system. Come on, make it happen. Um, all the other stuff too. I would, Fatal Frame. It's like, yeah, the Fatal Frame games. You can't play that. You can't play that on a newer system. God
Yep.
no. Like, so I have to we have to find ways to keep these things alive. That's why again on Xbox front, they generally most of the popular stuff you can still play. Some of the other stuff here and there, yeah, you have to have it on the system it came out with. Like that's why on my original Xbox, I do have some games that are not on the backwards compatibility list. But I'm just happy that a lot of the games I can just throw it in my Xbox Series X and just be off onto the races again.
I'll say this. In terms of keeping the old console still alive, this is one thing that I do also have to applaud Sega on, as if I don't applaud Sega enough.
Yeah.
This is one thing I have to applaud Sega on because they've they gave a like sold a company a license to like manufacture Sega Saturn controllers and like modernize Sega Saturn controllers with wireless and Bluetooth, but also old school ones that still use the regular port. And that same company is going to be coming out with Dreamcast controllers eventually. Like there's also people out there who are making like advanced VMUs with the backlight and stuff like
Oh yeah,
that.
like LED
It's
lighting
like
and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So there there are some people there are people still keeping that like keeping these old consoles alive on a third party level, but at a high quality.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
So so you might not know this, but Nintendo has yeah, here we go. So Nintendo released the N60 like an N64 controller for the Switch.
Hmm.
So
Huh.
I believe because emulation, there are certain they emulated games to be played
Right.
on the Nintendo Switch. I believe those are USB based, I want to say. I hadn't had I don't know off the top of my head. product can be connected to the Switch wirelessly. It can be charged via USB Type C.
Hmm.
You know, it'd be crazy if
What?
Nintendo were like, "Oh, let's release some of our games on Steam and just make these controllers available for people to buy, so they could just play it how they did back in the day."
There really is no reason for them not to do that, except they want people to buy their consoles.
Yeah. Bertner says, one thing I don't like what these console companies are doing is that they release a new console, they basically just forgot about the older one's accessories. I bet if Sony comes out with the PS6, they're just going to stop making the PS4 controllers and shit. And what's the point of changing the entire controller? Not much. Gameplay gets better with a whole new controller. It does suck because, again, like, I'm having a hard fucking time trying to find legit PS3 controllers. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, at a certain point, Sony's gonna be like, we're stop making PS4 controllers. We're gonna stop making
Yep.
PS4s, and you know what's gonna happen? All the third party people are gonna release their own controllers or knockoffs. So then you're gonna
Yep.
have to force to buy them. Panda, if
Yep.
I can find my PS3 controllers, I'll send it to you. Them to you. Oh, dude, thank you, partner. Yeah, it's again, it's like backwards compatibility. People don't realize, like, hey, we could play this, or hey, what about the controllers we use? It all kind of interlinks it with itself, and
Yeah. It creates a whole ecosystem,
and
and
you know what's crazier?
the
The Nintendo Wii, people said fuck you and made their own online service, so you could still
yep.
play online multiplayer games on the Nintendo Wii and Mario Kart. Fucking
I
insane,
think that's the one thing that I will praise Nintendo for is the Wii's backwards compatibility to the GameCube.
dude. That's like the
As
fucking
far as
saving
I
grace.
understand, every single game works.
It did, and what the crazy part
And
is.
so when I go to the retro gaming convention to finally jump on the GameCube wagon, I it's either I can spend $100 on a GameCube
Not even. It's
or
it's
$50 on a Wii.
it's more on the GameCube now.
Well, back this is when I bought it.
Oh, okay.
So it's $100 for a GameCube or $50 on a Wii. There's no
Yeah, there's no
circumstance under
reason.
which I'm gonna spend twice again as much
I
on on the GameCube when I can get the Wii and get everything I want plus the entire Wii library.
Yeah, like that's the one reason why I have my Wii, like because the later versions of the Wii they stopped it supporting it, but
Hmm.
the original launch ones for a longest time, yeah, they're fully backwards compatible. Play your games, and they have the this is what I love. They had the fucking memory card ports for your GameCube
Yep.
memory cards
Yep.
in there, and I'm like, what the
They
fuck?
know exactly what you're doing.
PS3. Oh, how do I save? Oh, we can create a digital memory card. So and you essentially never run out
Yeah.
of space because it's based on your hard drive space.
Yeah,
I,
but
yeah.
I don't get to carry
Yeah,
over
exact
my memory cards from my PS2
yeah,
with
exact.
all the games that I already played.
Well, actually I think there was an adapter for it.
So I have to buy some.
Yeah, yeah, but with Nintendo,
Exactly.
it's all in one. You're good to go.
It's
Four
already there.
ports, memory cards, bam. Like
You literally don't need
which
to
is
do
crazy,
anything.
which is
You can
crazy. Yeah.
you really can. You shouldn't, but you really can get rid of your GameCube
You
once you get
shouldn't.
a Wii.
You
You
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
No,
Oh,
never do that.
don't do
I've
that.
made that mistake one time. I'm never gonna do that. But you can, and that's the way it should be. You should be able to full it in a perfect backwards compatibility world, or basically on some level, because there are certain games that this definitely isn't going to work for,
Oh yeah.
but on some level you can get rid of your Xbox once you get a 360. You can get rid of that 360 once you get an Xbox One. You definitely shouldn't if you own Steel Battalion, but you can do that if you own most games that people would play on an Xbox. You can
That's
get rid of that Xbox for an Xbox 360,
that's
and
what
you can
yeah.
continue upgrading all the way up and keep the same game.
That's what I essentially did when I got, the PS5. I don't need my PS4 anymore now. But well, legitimately I don't need the PS4 anyways because they could do much, but it's just the Xbox original with the Xbox 360, I traded in for it. and then later on, I'm like, I probably should not have done that
Yep.
at all. Like, granted, we played a lot of Halo 2 back then on the backwards compatibility, but that had a lot. Oh god, I remember the ghosting issue was. Oh god. But but yeah, no, I often like, again, the retro gaming community is a very, very, very dedicated community because
Yes.
they essentially we want to keep these games alive. That's and sometimes and again, video game retro game prices are fucking insane,
Yeah.
especially you know when Armored Core made when Bandai made the announcement for Armored Core, all the previous Armored Core games shot up in price because
Yep.
interest got brought back into Armored Core.
Yeah. I'm glad I got all of them before that.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Um, and it's not like, oh, is it on the backwards compatible? No, it's just you have to play it on those specific systems.
Yep.
But they all raised up because the interest brought up. I, in a perfect world, I would like to have the system being able to play multiple patch generations of games all under one roof to make things a lot easier. PC technically is that, but there is a lot of issues because with every new operating system, it changes how it works. A lot of the older games can't jive with it, even
There's
though,
also hardware limitations as well.
oh yeah,
There are some games that, like old games, that you have to do a lot to make them run on modern hardware, just because PCs were different back then.
and that's why like fucking Windows, they had like that backwards compatible thing to make it, you could
Yep.
set it up, which helps a
And
little bit.
sometimes that doesn't even
Yeah,
work, because
sometimes that doesn't
this is
even
this
work.
is why this is why I own 2 old PCs.
Yeah, like which is fucking that's fucking nuts, dude. That you own two old PCs because the games that you grew up playing as a kid, you can easily fucking play it on those systems,
Yep.
on those computers. Like
Yep.
I'll just install fucking
Uh,
Windows.
well, I'm gonna be real with you. Sometimes you can't even do that, just because the the game is that old, and B, the system is just new enough to where it has problems.
Yeah. And now, which is interesting because we see a lot of games that we can't play, but they're like, oh, let's remake or remaster it.
Yep.
It's kind of like their way of being like, hey, you can still relive it, but you just have to pay more money. The Metal Gear
Yeah.
HD collections sucked, but I was willing to do it because it was awesome. But Konami, again, Metal Gear Delta Snake. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. That's a big wait and see.
That's a big way, but I'm excited. I myself am excited, but yeah, it's um like I'm holding on to my PS3 like a vice grip. I'm gonna buy a new backwards compatible PS3 again, just so I can have a backup in case if that system fails. And people are like, why don't you plug in a PS2 to a HDMI converter? I'm like, yeah, the PS3 could just do that all under one thing. Like I don't need to convert anything. It's
Mm.
all like it's 1080p. I could smooth out the lines, and I'm off to the fucking races. Which is also kind of crazy. It's like when I put in discs, you're like, oh, oh man. But um, yeah, that was really good. Yeah, shit. Of course, cartridge-based games. Rip. No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
They made
Well,
the
well,
systems. They made those
yeah, they
third-party
have the
systems.
Retron system.
Yeah, the Retron system is the answer to that, which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's like the retro gaming community gives answers to problems.
And there's that third party Genesis Mini that also just plays Genesis games.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, absolutely nuts. Like, hey, there are still ways to play those old games. The community made it, but certain games on major console creators like Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony, it may vary.
Yep.
But I think that was definitely one hell of a topic to talk about. Folks, we are going to take a short 1 to 2 minute break. I got to use the bathroom real quick. So I am going to be right back. All right, folks, we just come back again. Sorry for the wait. I love these topics that we talk about. It's funny because it's like we have these conversations. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people would like it if they just listen to this shit half the time. So, balls. Don't worry, I got more balls. Okay, so our next segment coming up. Give me one moment. I literally, because my mom was taking a shower,
Mm.
ran all the way downstairs, used the bathroom, ran all the way the fuck back up, got my drink, and be like, I'm good. Because I was like, speed is critical. And then I'm like, I could just edit the BRB moment in post and upload it on YouTube. Is that Minute Maid Lemon? That is Minute Maid Lemon. Oh,
In a can.
and I can't nuts even. Yeah. All right. So our next segment coming up, we like to call it the board. And what we mean by this is we have a list of anime titles that we rank on a tier system from F tier to S tier. F meaning do not ever watch it, whatever. Don't even fucking try. Stop. I'm actually begging you to stop. Please don't do this. Consider your options. To S tier, meaning we both universally agree that these are the top tier animes to watch. You should not miss out on them whatsoever. So as such, we're gonna do it. I'm not even know a single one of those shows. Could be a good time, Bertner. Could be a good time. So, as such, we got to get some waifu shit in there. Oh, not that one. I covered your face. Sorry, Nibus. So, yeah, let me cover his face real quick. Yeah. Let me cover your face here with some anime stuff. So, from last week, S tier, we have Amagami SS, Evangelion, Gundam Build Fighters. A tier, Cowboy Bebop. I'm still salty about that.
If
Tenchi
you want to
Muyo,
battle me, you can.
Tenchi Muyo, Trigun, Martian Successor, Nadesco. B tier, Great Teacher Onizuka, Evangelion rebuild movies. C tier, Ghost Stories. D tier, Divergence Eve. F tier, Godzilla Singular Point. Is the Aqua says, is this concerning disagreement that happened between you two? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So now the rules are simple. Me and Anubis each we take turns putting in up to 3 to 5 anime titles. We give what we believe our rating is. Maybe leaving a little thing saying why we see this. If we're in universal agreement, it's on the list. If we don't, we try to compromise.
We battle.
Cowboy Bebop was one of them.
Yep. If
So,
you want to battle me on it, we can. But I'm firm.
okay. First, my selection on the list, to be honest. My first one, this is going to be S tier.
Okay.
I believe
We'll see.
Dragon Ball Z deserves to be up there.
I can't argue with Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, because again, Dragon Ball Z, we all love. We all grew up with it watching on Toonami. Fucking fight scenes were incredible. The different sagas, like Frieza saga was awesome, but the fucking Cell saga was perfect.
The Cell
Literally,
Saga is definitely the one I remember the most of, and for good reason.
literally one of the best sagas out there. Boo got kind of weird.
It did.
It got legitimately kind of weird, and then there was like Boo, and then there was Kid Boo, which was supposed to be the original Boo, but they put it just got weird. But I believe, yeah. So we're in agreements. Dragon Ball Z
Yes.
S tier.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
I can't argue with it being S tier.
Oh wait, before you start, how do you feel about the unnecessary amount of blue balling that Demon Slayer has been doing? I don't watch Demon Slayer. I
Me neither. I never started. I'm not sure I'm going to start. This isn't an indictment on the quality of the anime. I'm sure it's a fine anime,
yeah.
but I'm not watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind that. Yeah. No. So. Okay. So we were greens. Dragon Ball Z S tier quality.
Yes.
All right. What's your anime going on the list?
My pick is gonna be Code Geass in the A tier. And the reason I'm saying the A tier is that overall it's a very solid show and honestly, easy top 5, definite top 10 anime as far as I'm concerned. There are a few weak points in it. I think it's one of the weaker mecha series that exists, which is which is kind of surprising from a Sunrise anime. But basically, the mecha is the weakest part of Code Geass in an otherwise very strong show.
Mm.
But overall, it's an excellent, it's fantastic.
Aqua said Dragon Ball Z would not consider S tier, but I'd recognize it being an important anime. In fact, Dragon Ball series is like Pokemon in terms of how big it is internationally. Exactly, it's a big international.
Well, the reason that I can't argue with Dragon Ball Z being S tier is because it isn't important.
Yeah, it's one of those key things you just cannot deny. So Code Geass A tier. Yeah, I'll give you that. The mecha part was kind of on the weaker approach, but overall,
It was the weakest part of the show.
overall I internally enjoyed it. Hey, Killer, what's up? All right, back to me. I'm gonna have this is A tier, by the way. My next take, Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star.
It is a damn good anime series set in space with a comedy twist. Great voice cast, by the way, but it was like it was so close to hitting that S tier. But I consider it a very high A.
What prevented it from hitting S
Oh,
tier?
we're doing it.
Well, I'd like to hear what prevented it from hitting S tier.
Uh,
Because let me tell you where I'm coming from.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, the trifecta is Code Geass, Trigun, Outlaw Star. And for me, Outlaw Star is like a notch above the others. Like I consider Outlaw Star to be the best of those three, and it's really not even close.
Really?
Yeah,
Me, there are really good animes out there with really good comedy that really does deserve to be up in the heavens, stuff like that, but
certainly.
it is hard to have an anime that's comedy that deserves to be up in the heavens. I think in my mind, Outlaw Star had a lot going for it. I will admit, I enjoyed the shit out of it growing up as a kid. It was
Certainly.
like the alternative of Cowboy Bebop, basically. Cowboy Bebop.
I mean, I don't go to Outlaw Star necessarily for the comedy. I go to it because it creates it creates a unique and interesting world, and the characters that inhabit that world, and all of how that world works. Like I think like Outlaw Star, as for me, is one of the quintessential sci-fi.
And well, Cowboy Bebop for me was one of the quintessential sci-fi animes. So we can see where we're at right now.
Okay. We okay.
This is a hostage. This is a hostage situation.
Here's where we're gonna battle.
Okay.
Here's where we're gonna battle. You could do Cowboy Bebop without it being in space. Am I right or am I wrong? Where you could tell that story without without it needing to be space travel. There are certainly elements where
But the
yeah,
but the core of it, the core.
it's where it is this where this thing is this way because it's a space anime. But the core of it is not. I quite frankly, calling Outlaw Star sci-fi is kind of only half right. Part of it's sci-fi mixed with science fantasy. Cowboy Bebop is sci-fi incidentally, but that's not really the focus of the world or the story. And again, this isn't an indictment on Cowboy Bebop,
All right.
but you could do that without it necessarily having to be in space. Whereas if you set Outlaw Star not in space, that strips away like 75% of the.
Fuck, you're right. Yeah, because a lot, you could literally just have a lot of the episodes be like took place in like Mars, Venus, fucking Earth. Uh, mm. Okay, can we agree? Okay, I'll put Outlaw Star if you give me Cowboy Bebop. Just give me Cowboy Bebop.
What
Give me the Bebop. Give me the Bebop.
I am asked the only question I asked you was what is preventing Outlaw Star from.
Just give me Bebop. Just give me
You
Bebop.
don't,
Just give me
you haven't
Bebop.
answered the question I asked
I
you.
know. Just give me Bebop. That's all.
Yeah, you haven't questioned. Is what is what what is what's preventing Outlaw Star from being S tier? The fact that I won't put Cowboy Bebop in the S tier. Is that what's preventing Outlaw Star from being S tier? Tell me the truth, Panda. Is that
Maybe,
the
yeah.
reason?
Maybe yes. It's a very petty reason, I know, but
Outlaw Star can go in A tier.
okay. All right.
That was gonna be my pick anyway. I just wanted to know your I was actually asking you the question, Panda. I don't know if you thought I was joking or not.
No. Believe me, I'm being a little petty bitch
I
right
wanted to
now.
see if I agreed with
Yeah.
you or if you had some like point about Outlaw Star that I didn't like, that I wasn't seeing, or something that I wasn't like looking at when I watched the anime. I was being genuine.
All right. Let's
It
go.
wasn't a joke.
I'm sorry, but okay. Your turn now. Okay, what's your next pick on the list?
Uh, I'll be honest with you. The only one I really had planned out in mind was Cowboy Bebop. Was Code
Outlaws.
Geass,
Okay.
and I do not have I I was gonna say Outlaw Star eventually. I don't know if it would have been that the next one.
throw out an anime to put on the list. We got different tiers to go on here.
I'm looking through the list, Panda. I'm looking through the list of all the anime that I have seen and I haven't seen. Here's a good one.
Okay.
Genshiken.
Oh, what tier?
I would say I'd put that on. Genshiken is a low S tier or a mid-level S tier, and here's why. It really, I wouldn't say Genshiken is a high A tier. Here's why.
Oh, you had to like, let me correct
It
myself.
did so like it didn't really start a trend, but it was the first of a modern era of anime about animes. Anime about the otaku culture.
Otaku no
There
video,
was a
comic
there was
party.
Comic Party is kind of about otaku.
Well,
Also,
what about Otaku no video?
Otaku no Video was like one of the first apps.
Okay, got it.
It also came out in 1991, whereas Genshiken came out in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what Genshiken's all about, it's literally a guy joins an anime club in college, and they nerd out about anime, and they have a lot of stuff in pop culture of the animes that if you knew, you pick up immediately what they were trying to do.
Yeah, it it's an anime that's really about otaku culture.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Anime, and I thoroughly enjoyed Genshiken a lot. I think A tier is a nice place for it. And we also had a sequel, I believe, right? Another season.
We had Genshiken,
Yeah.
we had a few OVAs that came out.
Okay.
We had Genshiken 2, and then we had Genshiken Second Generation, which is based off of the sequel manga. So like the
Oh.
Genshiken and Genshiken 2 are based off of the original manga, and then Genshiken Second Generation is based off of the sequel manga, where it's like a new group of people in the club.
Uh, Aqua says I never watched Outlaw Star, and I only seen one episode of Get through a sample DVD. I believe was that sample DVD from New Type magazine.
New type
Yeah, well,
New type
was
US
it?
bag. I fucking guarantee
Because
you.
I guarantee you, it's like that. That'd be exactly what it is. What about the goat animes? Area 80. Ooh, Area 80.
I was thinking about Area 88. I was
On
see I
the
looked
list,
it in my I looked it in
motherfucker.
my list, and I was like,
Be
am I
there.
should I talk about Area 88?
Well,
I,
hold up.
what
It's my turn. My turn.
Panda, it's your turn.
And then we'll bring it back to you, and then you can talk
Go
about
for it.
and then you can talk
Go
about Area 88. Okay,
talk your shit.
we agreed. Okay.
Talk.
Okay. I want to add. We've been putting a lot of stuff in like A tier. I want to balance
Yeah.
the books a little bit.
Yeah.
B tier one. I want to say, Blue Gender.
Okay. I I can't speak intelligently about that because I watched like a couple episodes and figured that it wasn't.
Yeah, it like it started off strong and then it got a little weird. Essentially, basically, this guy gets cryogenically frozen because he has a he had like, oh, we're gonna fix you when you wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the disease, but we can't cure the disease now, so
Yeah,
we'll come back and get you when we can cure the disease.
yeah. So he wakes up
There's a
and
lot of there are quite a few anime that start.
yeah, he wakes up and it turns out the world was overrun by these bug monsters, basically, and a majority of and a part of humanity basically has to live in space, and they're trying to come back and they're trying to like land down on Earth and try to like clear out the bugs as best they can. But again, it's like it's it's like a little Starship Troopers mixed in with fucking. I'm trying to think of a anime out there. It's was there? Did they hold on here? Because it was a long anime. Yeah, there were mechs in there, so yeah. So yeah, Blue Gender mixed in with like I don't know, Starship Troopers mixed in with like kind of like Gundam because with the mech
Mm,
battles.
right.
So the ending got hella weird for me. But I think overall I enjoyed it for what it was. So I think like Blue Gender again. I originally watched this when remember Tech TV? They had
Yes.
the Anime Unleashed segment,
Yeah.
and that's how I got to watch it. Was because of that. So,
I think I watched a couple episodes on Adult Swim
yep, and then
when they
went out
played that.
when they play that too. So yeah, I think Blue Gender a nice easy B tier. It it starts off great, and then it gets a little weird near the end, and that's what it kind of kind of faltered a little bit.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so okay, and Trip is like, you got I got to ask about the plane, man. Yeah, okay, so Area 88, where are we putting it on the
Area
list?
88. I I don't think I can intelligently put it well, okay. First things first,
All right.
we're talking about the OVA. The Area 88 OVA, I can't
Nope.
put that lower than an 8. And the reason why is just it's just a high quality. Like it's a classic from the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of pisses me off is that like they're I can't really say that they've made a better air combat anime since, like modern air combat, not like 2.
Okay. Trip is like
Because like
based. Yeah.
what else? Because like what else? There's 801 CTS airbats, and that's good, but that's also not air combat. That's that's like demo team. There like what else is there that focuses on modern air combat? They had like the first episode of Idle Defense Force Hummingbird, where they're piloting actual military jets and not the weird ones they get as idols. Like without going into Macross, what else do you have? Girly Air Force? I'm the only person who remembers that anime and I don't even like it.
Okay, so Area 88 A tier.
Area 88 A tier.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll give it to you. Aqua says, I remember Anime Unleashed, but I don't know if they ever watched Blue Gender. It's again, I enjoyed it for a little bit, but it got just weird at the end. Okay, so it's coming back to me again. We've been putting a lot of stuff in the A tier. Calm down on the A tier. Think of stuff on B tier and below. For instance, B tier potential. A little bit different here. Romantic
Okay.
comedy, a little bit of harem anime too. Got to throw that in
All
there.
right.
It's a classic. I call it a classic. I enjoyed this.
Okay.
I kind of want to put this in 8 here, but a high B is a strong B. On here. I liked the idea of being an Air Force consisting of women. Yeah. B tier high, love Hina.
Love Hina.
The theme song to Love Hina lives rent free in my mind. It was basically kind of like a harem anime where Kentaro Oe. Yeah, there we go. Kentaro Oe basically took over his grandma's apartment or dormitory, like something basically, and all these women he just meets and all that stuff, crazy shenanigans. He's trying to find the person he made a promise to marry, but like all these things just kind of come into play. And you got the original series, and then you got the OVAs, which could basically essentially continues the story. But I gave it a good, strong high B.
All right, so why B and not A?
Motherfucker. I hadn't
I gotta ask the question.
because I remember. How do I put this into words? I remember very strongly about Lupina being like one of my top favorite ones. Granted, some of the episodes got a little weird. Like the one thing I hate about the harem animes out there is you got the protagonist, right? Then you got
Yep.
the main girl that the series kind of wants you to go with.
The main girl that you know the protagonist is gonna end up with if they end up with someone.
Yeah, but you're kind of rooting for someone else. You know, it's like, anyways, what's an anime out there that you were rooting for this homegirl to be with the protagonist, but it ended up being someone else totally different?
Shuffle. I don't even have to think about it. The name of the anime is Shuffle.
Exact. Okay.
The name of the girl is Kaede, and the name of the other girl who we actually ended up with is Asa. And I'm upset. I'm upset because how they did my girl Kaede. They did not have to do that to her.
So yeah, for me personally, like you had all these again, out of all the women that chose hold on here. Now I need to look through the fucking list.
Part of the issue for me is that in these kinds of anime, if the protagonist ends up with someone, it's usually the bitch.
Yeah, usually. And I wanted to be like, no, don't do it, Kentaro, choose someone else. And it was, yeah, like this what's that term? Tsundere?
Tsundere.
Tsundere, yeah. So yeah, he ended up with a woman that I'm like, no, why would you do this, my man, there was better options out there, my man. So a little salty. So, but which it's kind of crazy because there are some harem animes that you're like, yes, exactly, there you go, my man, let's go. And others are like, fuck you. So that's kind of
And
reason
then
why.
there's School Days.
Yep. But Aqua says, I never read Lapina, but the artist who wrote and illustrations is one of my favorite artists. Yeah, I recommend it. High B,
Kanakamatsu, highly talented.
high B tier, high B tier. Would have been A if he picked a better girl.
I can respect that.
A little salty. Again, that's the problem with harem anime. You root for, there's all these women. You root for the wrong one, and it's like, fuck. Back to you, and my cord just flies around my fucking face. So,
All right.
what are we at? What are we at?
Have you ever seen Redline?
No. Red Line
Redline.
anime?
Yes, it's an anime movie. Came out in the I think early 2010s.
No, I have not. But my
Well,
god, that
that's it.
hairstyle. My god, that hairstyle.
That one is a D tier.
Okay. All right.
And the reason it's a D tier is because despite looking fantastic, because it was animated by Madhouse, and
Oh god, yeah. They,
it went like over time and over budget. They really went all out for this movie, and it shows. If you look up like a trailer for it, you can see the animation quality is top notch. The art is top notch. If when you look in like the crowd with all the aliens sitting in the stands watching the race, you can see the detail on even like the rando aliens you never see again. It's it's a visually stunning movie. If only they were animating something interesting. Like the issue by so to illustrate my issue with it, this is a racing anime that where it never feels like you're going fast, and the reason why that is because the default speed is so high. You're already like everything is already moving at ludicrous speed
Yeah.
to the point where the only way to depict something going faster is to have the person like hit the nitro button and then the vehicle has a seizure and then rockets away from the rest of the vehicles in the pack.
So
And so I thought it like the the anime you would be hard pressed to find a better looking anime just in terms of its art. You really would be hard pressed to find that if only what it was animating was interesting.
yep. I
And I can say that I watched the same movie twice because I
you
needed
just
to
you just wanted
know
to make sure. You
to
wanted
know if I was
confirmation.
just being salty.
Confirmation.
I needed to know.
Yep. Um, all right, so Redline D tier. Trip said, "Man, school days. That's a throwback." Exactly. Aqua said, "I understand what you mean. One thing I would like to see more harem do is actually have a protagonist and the bachelorettes be in a polyamorous relationship."
I think
Wasn't
there's a couple that
Demon Lord that was technically one of them?
I don't know about that.
All right. I have a good one.
Okay.
God damn it! I kind of want to put more stuff in the other tiers, but I'm like kind of gravitating towards this one. Like,
That's
Panda.
why I picked Redline because I knew Easy was it's difficult to find stuff that's mediocre, and at least for me, it's difficult to find stuff that's truly bad because I usually don't finish the stuff.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I was going to originally say Esclaflowne.
Mm,
There's the TV series, 26 episodes, and then there's a movie.
right.
And I'd never let me rewatch the whole series again because I kind of had
Mhm.
I watched it out of sync because it was on Fox Kids Saturday morning
Ooh.
for some odd weird reason, and it never was. I don't think it never had a chance to be on Adult Swim. So let me binge watch that shit. Uh, Demon Lord. I am curious what series you're thinking of. I am thinking of. I can actually tell you what I'm specifically thinking of. Oh, what the? Oh, here we go. La la la. As I'm just saying random stuff there, your people are gonna be like, "What the fuck is he on?"
That's called filling time.
Yeah, I feel it. No, it's not Demon King, Daimao. It's yeah, how not to summon a demon lord. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how not to summon demon lord. I'm trying to think of other anime because I need to be more mentally prepared for this shit. Um, si- mm, all the stuff I'm like gravitating like this deserves to be in a higher tier, and you know it, bitch.
you're free to battle on anything that I have battled on. We're free to continue that battle if you want.
This is gonna be an S tier. I have to.
Okay. All right.
Black Lagoon.
What makes that an S tier?
Story. How our main man goes from business life and then works at the what's the company? Was the Black Lagoon company?
I think yeah, I think that's just what the
But basically all the crazy adventures they had. But it's like it got more and more serious all along the way. And when they went to Japan, everything kind of went tits up and like all the emotions came flowing through. Like that, the one thing I love about it is you got a lot of action packed moments in that anime, but it got damn serious and dark. Basically, we're like, holy fuck.
well, so let's go over what's currently on our S tier.
Okay,
We have Amagami SS that created a new way to do harem.
okay.
We got Neon Genesis Evangelion, which there are numerous things we can say for with regard to how that actually changed the medium and how things are done in the. We have Gundam Build Fighters, which not only revived Gunpla as as a scene, but it's Gundam finally dropping the pretense that it's not a toy commercial, and it. We had Dragon Ball Z, which is like that's the quintessential shonen fighting anime. Like that's the anime.
Shit.
When
Yep.
when you talk about shonen fighting anime, you're talking about shows that took cues from Dragon Ball Z and to some extent Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z is the one, especially in North America, the one that people really.
Shit.
So that's I'm
Yeah,
talking.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah. Like
that's what that
levels,
show's going to be
levels,
up against.
yeah. A tier. Give me solid A
I'll give it A.
because it is that
Because
good.
I agree with you that it's that good, but especially given what's already in the A tier, I don't know that it can hold. Like I don't know that it can carry that torch.
All right, back to you, motherfucker. You're gonna have to figure this shit out.
I had one in mind. No, I have two in mind. I have a coin. Flip it. That's the headset.
Oh man.
Otaku no Video. S tier. And the reason why it's S tier is because that was really the first anime that
That was Gynax, wasn't it?
it was Gainax. It was early Gainax.
And that legitimately talked about otaku
Mm. It,
culture. They did the interviews and stuff like that. Yeah,
they did
they.
the interviews, all of which were fake. Everyone,
Yep.
the interviews in Otaku no Video are fake. They're all staged. They're all
Mockumentary.
parodies.
It was a
Exactly.
mockumentary.
Exactly.
Um.
And it's basically Gainax telling the story about themselves,
Yep.
because all of that stuff is it obviously it's the artistic license version of the story, but they really did do the garage kit thing, and they really did transition from that into making anime. So it's them telling their own story in like in a different medium, in a way that only they can do that.
Okay. 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 Yeah, I'll give it to you. I will get. I will. I will. I will gladly give this. I'll talk about videos up there. And for those who don't know, it is a. Oh, can we consider an OVA? The
It is
mockumentary.
an OVA. Yes, it's
OVA
an OVA.
mockumentary. Um.
Well, it is an OVA. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's what it's considered.
Aqua said the stat series. I've heard of it, but the protagonist does actually have a harem though, and I'll check it out. It's he kind of does. He kind of does. Let's not lie ourselves here. Okay. Okay. Uh, I think we're. Let's do one more. Each of us.
Let's do one more.
I got it. I got an S tier quality. You got it.
Okay.
I know this is gonna resonate with you a lot.
Okay.
Please give me this one.
Tell me what it is.
Samurai Champloo.
If cow and let's get this straight right now. I'm the Samurai Champloo guy. But if Cowboy Bebop isn't in S tier, how the fuck is Samurai Champloo in S tier? Consider what the show is sharing space with.
Yep. Yep. You got all these. Um, one big impact was the soundtrack. Definitely ripped our main man up there. Fucking got passed away before he can realize the
You
industry that
know,
he started. Yep.
yes, we have to give it to Samurai Champloo and not Cowboy Bebop, and the reason why is because Samurai Champloo legitimately started the lo-fi hip hop.
Yeah. You like literally. How do you say his name again? Because I always
Nujabes.
Nujabes. He literally he passed away too soon to see where the industry that he legitimately started was going to take.
Yes.
And his music in that anime was like the anime itself. He had some great characters with their story arcs, but the music carried everything through, giving it like this feel of like like a lo-fi hip hop mix and a Japanese samurai
It's
era going.
it's so this comes back to earlier when I was talking about Akeba Maid War. It's this mix of genres, and especially a mix of aesthetic. You
Yeah,
got
exactly.
the samurai, the Jidaigeki Shanbara aesthetic, where it's the samurai movie. It's samurais fighting with swords. That's what we're doing in this movie, but it's got a hip hop sound, and it's got references to hip hop culture, and it's taken from both of those cultures. This is something anime's always been really good, is taking from different aesthetics and different cultures, doing something from one aesthetic in another aesthetic, and mixing it like that and making it work. And Samurai Champloo really is a like, if you wanna see how this is done, Samurai Champloo is one of the best anime to watch. So I'm glad you reminded me
Yep.
that this show is what started that lo-fi hip hop thing.
Yeah.
'Cause that is really that is a legitimate thing to put it in S tier for.
Aqua. Yeah, it did start the rise of it. He again, uh, no,
Every time you see lo-fi hip hop
it goes
with
back
like
to
at what it so like lo-fi hip hop, it obviously it's been a thing since before Samurai Champloo,
yeah.
but Samurai Champloo really cemented the connection with anime. Every time you see lo-fi hip hop with any anime culture involved with it, you can trace that back to Samurai Champloo. There's some connection.
Yeah.
It's the reason people think of anime when they think of lo-fi hip hop.
It had that much of a great fucking soundtrack. Like literally, legitimately, that soundtrack. Like Cowboy Bebop, great soundtrack altogether. Not gonna lie, but Samurai Champloo. Oh my god, the music with certain moments in that series, like the emotional scenes, made it 10 times
So
fucking better.
you see what I'm trying to do with
Yeah,
the A tier and the S tier.
yeah.
And
You like
yeah.
it needs to
I'm
change.
trying to
It needs to change something.
yes,
Something massive has to happen
exactly.
within.
It needs to change the game.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I finally got something. I got a few more stuff. Like Samurai Champloo, we can all agree on. Like, yes, we
Yes,
all agree on Samurai Champloo. Yes, we all agree on my put in for Dragon Ball Z because it was such a
yes.
fucking international fucking heavy hitter.
Iconic.
So, but yeah,
Everybody, even to this day, everybody.
like do not sleep on Samurai Champloo at all
No,
because
not at all.
like some of the episodes again were so fucking fantastically well done, and there will be some spoiler like the episode about the ogre, even though he really wasn't an ogre, he was just it, that was it. Jin, we got Fu, we got Jin, Mugen, yeah,
Mugen.
Jin had a love interest with a prostitute and he helped her escape from the whorehouse, basically.
Like this is what what's really powerful about what anime is able to do with mixing aesthetics and genres and cultures is it's able to do that and still do real shit. Like still actually tell real stories that
The
have
end,
actual impact when
the
it's doing that.
and the whole story was basically that Fu wanted to find the samurai that smelled of sunflowers. We
Yep.
didn't know why until near the end. It all got revealed. We're like, holy fuck balls! And the final battle was like, holy fuck! That was great. That was crazy. And again, I don't want to. I don't. It's spoilers, but at the same time, it's like this is one of those animes. Like I want you guys to experience every single second of it.
You need to watch Samurai Champloo. It
Uh,
needs to be watched. It can't be explained. Like I'm not doing justice explaining it.
oh God, no,
All
God no.
I can tell is about how it mixes these genres and aesthetics and cultures, but I can't really do justice to it just by explaining. It needs to be.
Aqua says, I have seen Samurai Champloo twice, both in dub and sub, and I thought it was excellent anime. The fact that this series was responsible for the rise of lo-fi hip hop is giving me new respects for the anime.
Yeah,
Exactly. Plus, also, great dubbing for it, too.
excellent dub.
Like, again, excellent fucking dub, great characters, great stories. Like, the soundtrack was a fucking, like, world, like a world conquering thing for it, basically. The start of, you know, uh, of it. But, yeah, it's Samurai Champloo. All right. Back to you.
Okay,
What's the last pick?
I I had a different one, but your Samurai Champloo idea actually gave me an idea for another S tier. Not to flood the S tier,
Not to flood
but
the S tiers.
I guarantee you will agree with me
All right.
that this is S tier. This is Interstellar 4-5, the story of the secret star system. You know what this one is?
Yep.
This is the one, if you've ever seen the music video to
Dap.
One More Time by
Yeah.
Daft Punk off the Discovery album, with all the blue people on stage playing musical instruments, and they're all partying and having a good time. This is the anime that's from. They made a full length, basically a movie based off of Daft Punk's Discovery album. There's no dialogue.
No.
There's
Nope.
very little like sound effects. It's just a series of music videos, but it tells a story.
I will. Daft Punk, amazing group, and the again, each song legitimately took. It was a continuous story from start to finish.
Yeah.
So I will give it to you wholesale. Again, Daft Punk has range. They can do anything.
What I think is like what really like is great is that like both of them grew up watching like Leiji Matsumoto and Star Blazers and Captain Harlock and
Yeah,
whatnot.
Captain. I was gonna say
And
like
then they grew up watching that, and then to get the chance to work with some of the people who worked on that and have Matsumoto supervise the animation for something that they made. Like that's just such that itself is such a wild story. And then the fact that A, these are the official music videos. B, it was like these were playing on Toonami. They were everywhere. That
MTV.
really MTV,
Yep.
this stuff was everywhere. And it was this connection. Like you associate the Discovery album now with anime.
Yeah. You know.
And the reason is and you could say to a certain extent that a lot of the connection between dance music and anime culture on some level traces back to Interstellar 4 or 5.
Such a good fucking soundtrack too. Like again, such a like. And you know what I wish that I could have done?
What?
Been to one of their shows. To actually
Ooh,
see them,
yeah,
making magic, making like see them cooking up there. Be like, damn,
right.
I would have loved to seen that, But because, and they just released they had like a song that they just released
Yep.
too, out of the fucking blue, like literally out of left field.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So with that, I think we've got a solid list, and of course you can join our Discord. Hit exclamation point Discord in my chat or check in the descriptions below. And you can actually, we do have a section in there to show you what we have currently on the board.
If you want
So,
to battle me about where Cowboy Bebop is on the list, that's where to do it.
yeah. So, overall, we got some more heavy hitters, but I think next week we should start looking for what belongs in B and below because we got some fantastic fucking stuff up
Yeah.
here, but we need to start digging, we need to start pulling back the curtain and be like, yeah, we need to who is
I'll,
good but not as good as they should be.
I'll start digging through all the low level,
Yeah.
like mid 2000s harem anime. All of
Exactly. Oh god, dude, that's just gonna just piss us the fuck off.
No, no, it's gonna pump me up because I understand that they're like B tier, C tier anime, but dude, Happy Lesson,
Oh,
love me some
wow.
Happy Lesson. Fucking Happy Lesson, Comic Party, what else? Uh Mabaraho, fucking fuck it, Magicano, which is actually a D tier. All these like
Magic it.
all these
This is a
like
detour.
mid 2000s hair like dime a dozen harem anime. Let's go.
Exactly.
That's that that like in terms of genres of anime, that might be one of my favorite genres of anime. Like specifically mid-level, also ran mid 2000s, like dime a dozen, bucket a quarter harem anime that came out during that.
Agreed. And as such, hopefully, so we're getting near the podcast where this is the second work. Feel free to ask us any questions you guys want about the video game and anime industry. We'll give you guys our personal input about it. But we do this podcast bi-weekly. It is live streamed, and then I upload it on my YouTube channel within the week that we don't live stream, basically. No, originally we were planning to do another stream next week because of scheduling, conflicts, but no, it'll everything will resume back on the 24th again. So, but yeah, no, dude, I'm just having like again, like I did something and I've got my reason down, and it was a very good reason to have it in S tier.
Yeah, yeah. I I was wrong about about Samurai Champloo. I'm glad you corrected me because
Yeah,
that would have been that would have been a
that would have
critical
been
miss.
that would have been a
Like
gravest
I
mistake
that
in the books.
that if I was me, if I was me watching this show, I would battle I would battle me on where Samurai Champloo is before battling me on Cowboy Bebop.
All right, Aqua actually posted a question. The question is, uh, why do you all think E3 is having trouble starting back up again? um,
They dropped the ball hard
it
several years ago,
yeah,
and they've been like kind of sort of going downhill ever since. And then the whole COVID lockdown thing just threw
hit
them off.
yeah, and
They can't recover, or it's going to be very difficult for them to recover from where they are now because of that gap in
it
scheduling where everybody all the companies got used to having to do
doing
their
their
own
own.
thing because there was no E3.
And it's funny because it's like for instance, PAX really grew up because you had like that perfect mix of industry, indie, and community.
Right,
And
exactly.
back then when I was a kid growing up, I would have loved to go to E3 because it was like that awesome destination to go. Now it's like a joke.
At a
Now
certain point, they basically closed it off to the general public. You could only get in if you were media or industry.
and then they opened it
And
up. Yeah.
the beginning of the end.
Yeah. I see they were not able to adapt. I guess it's well, Reed Pop came in and basically essentially took over, but they were supposed to do it this year, but they didn't have enough time. Like everything was kind of it was E3 was in such of a shit show that Reed Pop needed more time to fix it. So I will be I won't be surprised if we don't have another E3 ever again.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think they probably will try to do it next year, definitely, and try to see if they can bring back some of these companies again to be like, hey, we're doing this, and they have like Repop. You guys have a lot of like I gave you guys bad props trying to fix this because again, E3 used to be one of the most iconic things of the video game industry that everyone wanted to go to. Now it's becoming almost an absolute joke. So
Yeah, and the big question if they tried to do it again is it's gonna be like, why? Why would we as a if you're a video game company, why would we commit resources to being at this event
well, we can just do our own,
when
yeah.
we could just do our own thing and get the exact same response or better?
Which is I think that it's like E3's failure ended up being why these companies are doing their own thing.
Yep.
So but yeah, that was definitely a good question. It's again, it sucks. I remember again, like remember X Play?
Yeah.
They did like their E3 specials and stuff like that. They're like,
Yep.
oh my god, like holy shit! Like I remember when Metal Gear got announced on there, like Metal Gear Solid 3, like oh my god, that was like freaking the fuck out. They were showcasing the fucking trailer, which I remember. Okay, so years ago when Microsoft was doing the unveil for Halo 3. G4 was showcasing it.
Mm.
So, but here's the problem: it almost struck midnight.
Oh.
So during the unveil trailer for Halo 3, it struck midnight, and I'll tell what happens at midnight basically.
But like G4 really only runs during certain hours of the day. So at midnight, you start to get other unrelated programming that isn't for. It's basically all ads and infomercials until like what 6 a.m., 8 a.m.
Um, something reveal. Like I know like they had to go to like a commercial or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they cut to commercials immediately. Yeah, they had to cut to commercials immediately during the
yeah.
reveal. Yeah, yeah. It was legitimately like the one thing that pissed off everyone basically. I remember X-Play. I remember how I was introduced to E3 alongside Tech TV in general. Exactly. But but yeah, actually, but worst timing again. Like I remember, like, oh yeah, remember this happened? Like, fuck, yeah, I did. Holy fuck. Um, God, I miss the original X Play. And then now when they try to bring it back, G4, it kind of got weird, and now it's gone again.
Yeah.
Oh boy, had yeah, no, that's we already talked about that. I'd rather not get myself in on that shit. Not again. But yeah, um, but yeah, if no one else has any other questions, we're gonna be ending off the podcast. We 2 hours long. Goddamn, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, like we got these long. Like you know what? These podcasts are perfect if you wanna, or if you're going on a long drive, if you're going on a plane, all that dandy stuff. If you just want to hear two geeks talk about the things that they love on for a long time, we
If you
got
have a
you.
long delivery to make in Elite Dangerous, let us be your soundtrack.
Exactly, exactly. So that is going to be it. Again, we do this. We do the podcast live on stream bi-weekly. So the next one's coming up is going to be on June 24th, hopefully, and then we will upload this episode. So if you miss out on it, on my YouTube channel. So again, all the details right there on my page. You can just find it easily. But above all else, thank you all so much for coming in. I will. I'm gonna get ready to go play some games, and then after that, let's have some fun. So, Time Force Dubis, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And for everyone else, well, thank you for coming in, and hopefully you have some more questions for us next week.